add something
go
to
ahead.
the last part? So you're saying women want their cake and to eat it too because they want a man to lead, but then they don't want to like submit or whatever. But I could say the same about you guys because you want a submissive woman, but you don't want to fully dominate and protect and provide if you still want her to have a job and contribute financially to the household if that's your job.
Did I say that?
Andrew did. There's a two-income economy that has nothing to do with any of this. I think it does.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with the virtues. That was what my position was.
I don't even know.
If you're saying that
well, if you're the provider, then why do I have to provide?
Yeah, but if you're saying that submission should only happen if the man makes more money than you do.
That's not what she was saying.
Right.
But she's just harping on what you were saying.
Does she have a mouth?
Pardon?
I'm assuming she can speak for herself since she addressed me. So I was just addressing her back. So yeah. I mean, just to just very quickly have the exchange. So I was talking about virtues, and I don't understand why, whether or not you make more money than him or he makes more money than you, this would have anything to do with the idea of the virtues.
I'm just saying, if you're the provider and I'm submitting, then why would I have to provide too?
Well,
if you want to be completely traditional, then
well, it defeats the purpose. It's transactional at that point. It's literally a prostitute mentality, because what you're looking at then is purely transactional. Yes, I'll submit and fuck you and whatever you want as long as you're giving me money. That is the opposite of virtue. It's literally 180-degree inversion of what virtue is. It's literal prostitution mentality, and that's not even designed to affront you. It's just designed to express the idea that virtue is not transactional. It doesn't.
So you think it's prostitution for a man to pay for the first date? That's transactional, but that's definitely not prostitution by almost everybody's standards.
No, I didn't say it's prostitution. I said it's prostitute mentality, where everything that's relationship based between men and women from a woman's perspective becomes only transactional. Virtues are not to be compromised on simply because of money or something like this. So you don't go, well, I'll submit to a good man as long as he's fulfilling this material desire that I have. In this case, he has more money than me.
But isn't
that would be, hang on, that would be an inversion of virtue. That would literally be the opposite of virtue.
Isn't men's entire purpose to, like, theoretically, if we're thinking about hunter-gatherer, kill the deer, bring it home, cook it, and woman, like, maintain everything?
Well, then why don't we just put all of you in cages?
I'm not saying, pardon?
Then why don't we just put all of you in cages? Like, honest question, why wouldn't, if it is the case that men's entire purpose is to just grunt real loud and go out and kill deer and bring it home, as we become more sophisticated and we're still the strong, dominant sex, why don't men just go ahead and round up all the women and stuff their asses in cages and then just do whatever we want?
And that's why we're not submitting, because you say shit like that.
Safe environment.
Chill out before you freak out.
I think it sounds hot.
The reason they don't know they could is because of the idea of virtue. That's why.
But they have done that in, like, a lot of Muslim countries. Like, women are basically in cages in their house.
No, they don't have women stuffed in cages in Muslim countries.
Not in cages, but being stuck in a home and you're not allowed to even speak outside. I would say that's a literal cage.
Yeah, they're allowed to speak outside. That's ridiculous nonsense.
No, that's a real, like...
No, it's ridiculous nonsense. What happens instead is that women, for their own safety, are not allowed to walk unaccompanied without a man. Now, it's really funny because women here will be the first to say, well, it's not safe to walk around outside by myself because so many men are barbaric brutes who will SA you. And so in the Muslim nations, they're like, oh, yeah, well, then you can't walk around at night without a man who's escorting you, so that doesn't happen and you don't get deflowered and devirtued. And women go, I can't believe that you would be so barbaric as to not allow me to go out at night where it's totally unsafe and these mean old barbaric men are going to SA everybody. I can't believe that's more having my cake and eating it too.
No, but I really feel like you should look it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know Jennifer Lawrence is doing an entire movie called Bread and Roses, and it's about women in, I think, Iran or Iraq.
All right, sorry,
literally can't speak outside.
I'm sorry, I got to move on.
We got to move on, but look it up. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right. I do want to pull up two videos. So first, we're going to do the Office video. Go ahead and play that for us. Pay attention.
I got away with everything under the last boss, and it wasn't good for me at all. So I want guidance. I want leadership. But don't just, like, boss me around, you know? Like, lead me. Lead me when I'm in the mood to be led.
So this is like exactly the when it comes down to dating, it's like you're attracted to and you want a guy who like will do kind of those more traditional masculine things. So you want a leader, but you don't want to be a follower, because the feminism in you has like said, oh, okay, like can't be a follower, can't be submissive, but also like base evolutionary biological level, really attracted and prefer men who are like decisive masculine leaders, et cetera, dominant, whatever it is, attracted to it, but also in my head, can't do it because feminism told me not to. So that's you guys.
I mean, I feel like
That's
it's
you
because
guys.
we're very educated now. Like I said, like
What's that have to do with anything?
I feel like when girls feel like they're smarter and they know better than the guy, then they don't really submit to them, because they're like, why?
I agree.
That's just.
So are you actually, never mind.
No, my boyfriend is smarter than me, and he has to remind me all the time, hey, listen. And I go, you know what? You're right.
And as Andrew mentioned, we aren't like in caveman times. Society has evolved so we can keep the best parts of traditionalism and get rid of some of the really archaic, outdated parts.
You're right, like paying for first dates. It's
I never said anything about paying for
No, I
first
know,
dates.
that's super like archaic, and
I
it's
make
like
more money than my husband does. I pay for a
that's
lot
cool.
of shit.
Yeah. But like you heard 4 women here at the table who said they want a man to pay 2024.
They're not speaking for me. I'm not speaking for them.
Yeah, I know,
Every
but
woman
we're
is
talking in
different.
generalities.
I cook a lot of the meals. That would be considered a traditional female
Wow, that's
gender
like really
role.
sexist that you adhere to this like traditional gender role of like cooking.
If you think so,
cooking.
I
I'm
make
just
my
saying
boyfriend
you
a
can
sandwich
I don't
fulfill
think
some
so.
of the
But you're
traditional-
every time.
you're adhering to a traditional gender role.
That's why I'm saying you can adhere to some of them, but not all of them, because society has evolved and we don't need to be like stuck in the home in the 1950s.
So why?
Hey, the archaic parts are here's what you mean by archaic here, just so you know. The men have all the responsibility, but none of the authority. Because
That's not what
them
I
having
said.
the authority, because them having the authority is archaic. And it's like, that is the feminist creed. It's always
And
been the feminist
how would,
creed.
the
idea
men
that
having
men
all
should
of
be
that-
stripped of authority unless women determine that they should be qualified to lead them. So my position on that is like, yeah, fuck that, that's stupid. And men should absolutely do the opposite of that.
Well, if a woman is doing the majority of the cooking, that's quite a bit of responsibility and not necessarily in her favor. So that's not really
yeah, it's quite a
validating
bit of
your point.
responsibility inside that nice, warm house that has all that heat in it, that has every modern luxury possible invented
she
by
pays
men.
for.
You go over to the gas stove
Yeah,
that's
that I
imported
paid
by
for.
men. Hang on, and it's built by men. All of the modern infrastructure, which your car drives on to go get those groceries at the modern convenience store with the freezer system, which is all built by men. All of it was invented by men, and then you get back in that nice luxury automobile and you go back home on those roads built by men, and then you get home and you're protected 24 hours a day by military, which is completely and totally inundated with men, and a police force that guards you 24/7, to the point where they're literally one phone call away and have a rapid response time of usually, 5 to 7 minutes. Yes, I can totally tell
Well,
that
that's-
it's very archaric that men be put in charge of
That's
everything.
because,
better than us, like,
that is because
period.
women are still catching up. For the longest time, we're still catching up. What? No, listen.
No, men are just better than us.
Listen,
Clearly.
a lot of the time in like scientific communities back in the day, like take the girl Marie Curie.
Marie
She
Curie.
discovered radiation, and then a guy took it off her desk and put his fucking name on it. So it's like
All
women
those
are
female inventions.
Women are Wi-Fi was invented by a woman. Like
No, it
think
wasn't.
of all the inventions we would
Completely-
have if we brought women to the
completely
It's just
table.
the men
There's a
stole
woman
everything.
slapping
I
I mean,
Hey,
look
on
at a
male
house.
invention, by
Look
the
at a
way.
house. Look at a house built by a woman, and look at a house built by a man. It is way more functional. They don't put the
What?
laundry room
Women don't
downstairs.
build houses.
Women
You talking
do build
about
houses.
architects?
Architects.
Oh, the designers.
The designers.
They don't build. They don't literally build.
No,
the
I'm
house.
saying like if you look at women architects and male architects, usually the
women are
households
better?
are
Building
better.
architects don't build houses?
No, I'm.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying
I know what you're
designing.
saying.
I apologize.
So female
I'm saying
architects are
designing.
better than male architects.
I would say they're more efficient.
But do you know why that is? You're right. You're actually right. The reason that women build more or design more functional houses than men do, from architecture standpoints, is because when men do the architecture for a home, they encompass the family unit and the woman's needs. That's why. So what men do when they look at a home is they take into account the entire idea of the family structure for convenience, and then they incorporate that, and women don't.
No, women do. Because if you
What's
actually
more functional? What's more functional about a house designed by a woman?
Okay, so for example, like the placement of where the laundry should be, the placement of where the children's bedrooms are. If you like cabinets, pantry space. Like if you look it up.
Is this a study or are you just?
No,
like,
I swear I looked it up. I was super interested by it.
What's
and
the study? What's the? I mean,
come on, I don't have a computer in the top of my head and I can't remember exactly, but you guys all have computers out there. Just research it. Just look up female design houses versus men design houses.
Men incapable.
Here we go.
Of
there is no compelling
saying-
evidence whatsoever in any scientific literature that women architecturally design better homes than men or men than women.
I'm saying look
So
at
they're equal.
Here,
That's
I'm
what
sorry,
you just said.
I do got to move it
No,
on.
no,
just
no.
because
I
we're-
didn't say they're equal. What I said was that there's no scientific evidence to give to the contrary. Now, I personally would say, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Of course, men build all the houses, they build all the infrastructure, they build everything. But I mean, if you just want to say, well, female architects, they put the laundry room in the better place.
just saying that-
I'll just go ahead and grant it. It really has nothing to do with my
I'm saying
argument.
efficiency. Like women think differently than men, and that's not a bad thing. Like we could use that to see things from a different point of view. When you see things from a different point of view, you get scientific breakthroughs.
like DEI. So like so you're talking about like DEI, right? So like when it comes to like astrophysics, you think, or how about like chemical engineering? You think like if it's a black person in there, like because of their life experience, because they're black, they're going to be able to like bring something new to like mathematics or physics or something.
I'm saying if you beat somebody down, you're never going to know.
Yeah, you didn't really answer my question, but
Women have never been beaten down. All the women, so like when you say women needed to catch up, all of these original feminists who made all this original feminist literature were flying all over the world. They were highly educated. Since we've been keeping tabs in the 1700s for public education, women have always done better when it came to diplomas and getting degrees. They've never been removed from education. It was only a few Ivy League schools where that was the case. Most men also were not allowed to be college educated because they couldn't meet the bare minimal threshold for getting into those schools. And so what's happened now is we've just simply lowered the standards so significantly that now a college degree is the equivalent of an 8th grade education. Ask me how I know, because I argue with people who have doctorates, PhDs, right? Master's degrees in every sort of field you can imagine, and absolutely destroy them. And it's because they're so fucking stupid that literally what's happened is you took the standard, this high standard, the threshold barrier for entry, and lowered it so significantly that anybody could do it. College was about rewarding the best and the brightest. Not everybody could go. In fact, almost nobody could go. And so this idea that women just were historically oppressed, and they just haven't caught up. There's no barrier to entry for any job for women, and there hasn't been for about 40 years. And they're still doing the same shit that they were doing in the year 1700, the same shit. Service industry, basic educational work, secretary, clerical work, sex work, same fucking shit they've always been doing. So you tell me, when is it that you think women are going to dive into the construction field and get on the oil rigs and start building fucking society and infrastructure? When do you think that's going to be? How many years do you think it's going to take before women decide that they're going to do those jobs because they've been so historically oppressed?
I mean, I know women who roof houses and are welders.
You don't
but
know any fucking welding.
I do.
You're so full of shit.
I
What are their
swear.
names? You know what? Tell me the woman's name who you know who does welding. What's her name?
roofing.
We fucked her once. What was her name?
Yeah, you don't know her. You don't even know her name.
I swear.
They're so, you don't know their name.
Look, I've been very honest on this podcast, and I'm
But
telling you,
I
do know
just-
a roofer woman.
Here, I'm gonna have you pull up an info.
There's
There's absolutely more men in the field, yeah, but there are women in it too.
That women
I'll
are going to
give you the
totally
link.
get into construction.
I'm saying
Here,
that we're
I'll
still
send it
catching
to-
up.
One sec. I'm gonna.
Why are we harping on women doing construction? We should be talking about things like banking, finance. Like obviously men are stronger than women. We all know this. So yeah, it makes a little bit more sense for them to go into the construction field. Okay, but if you want to talk about
Pull that
smarts,
up.
I don't think like why aren't we discussing things like banking and like
Open the new tab.
medical
Let's
field?
discuss it.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, just while we're
These
here
are-
on this
these are
point,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
did you open it in the new tab? I don't.